Tonight, we have something special for you. These are the beginning of a series of readings by the underground master, Odie Hawkins. His books can be purchased at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and online with the information of the name of the book and his name from your local bookstore. And now let's zoom in on Odie Hawkins' readings, fireplace readings. Tonight is the beginning.
The first story I'd like to read comes from the book I wrote in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The book is called Wine Junction, and I'll start off with Elephant Nation. Over the past 10 years, there have been a number of attacks by so-called domestic elephants on human beings. They trotted out of the large, brilliantly lit ring, gently gripping each other's tails, as the clang-bang music of the Bunkum Brothers Circus Band covered their exit. Zumbi, the largest and the last member exiting, was required to do a little Bojangles backward shuffle just before he made his exit, a little taste of old-fashioned vaudeville. Hundreds of children, men, women, parents, circus lovers screamed and applauded as the elephants, bound with huge bandatic tutus around their middles and tall dunce caps on their heads, made their final exit from the big top. They followed their trainers in an obedient file to their tent quarters. Lucy, Old Tom, Snowflake, Jupiter, Sunny Boy, Barco, Sally, Zumbi, the Bunkum Brothers Circus elephant performers. They felt mentally tired from being forced to go through 40 minutes of playing soccer with an oversized beach ball, of sitting on multicolored stumps pretending to be schoolboys and girls with dunce caps on their heads, or shuffle dancing the samba, sometimes with pretty circus girls on their necks, or being forced to pretend that they were huge surrogate human beings with no connection to human beings beyond being forced to obey. Zombie lifted his trunk to sniff the cool air, the cool night air. Chicago. I can smell lake water and the odd-smelling trees they grow here in the Middle West, always the scent of fresh water. On the East Coast, there was the chemical stench of pollution, and on the West Coast, that reminded him most of his native Kenya, there was the odd odor of death. He had often discussed it with his fellow captors. His friend and fellow ex-Kenyan, Jupiter, had a unique spin on the West Coast funk. Zumbi, I believe that we are really smelling death. I think that the outer space ones are dumping their cremated bodies into the valleys, into that big basin called Los Angeles. Maybe that's why they call it Los Angeles, the angels. He found it difficult to refute this notion. He didn't want to believe it, but he couldn't find a valid reason to reject the idea. They waited patiently for their trainer and his assistants to place chains around their left ankles, to fork bales of grass and wheat straw, reinforced with barrels of Jonathan apples, into their separate feeding troughs to supply them with water. They ate and drank, glad to be away from the bright lights and the brutal noises of the crowd. The subsonic message was received by all of them, but it was directed to Zumbi. Roxy was calling again from the zoo. He had started calling from the second hour of their arrival in town 2 days ago. Roxy the Rogue, he had been labeled by the press after killing one of his zoo prison mates. She was in love with her captivity. and badly injuring an abusive zoo attendant. The zoo was only a few miles away, and after a bit of fine-tuning, they had managed to work out a very clear channel of subsonic sound. Roxy the rogue elephant had been granted a reprieve by authorities after eyewitnesses testified on his behalf, validating claims of cruel and unusual punishment by Roxy's trainer. And of course, because of his notoriety, he became a top draw attraction at the zoo. Come see Roxy, the rogue elephant. Bring the whole family. Tonight, Zumbi, tonight while they are sleeping, tonight. 7 great heads turned casually in Zumbi's direction, but tension was the fuel for their attention. Zumbi shook his head back and forth with annoyance. No, Roxy, not tonight. The time is not right, not tonight. We need to work out a careful plan. I will tell you when. Their communication ended abruptly. Roxy is not pleased by my reluctance to join him in rebellion. Too bad. Perhaps he's too young to recall the last time we moved against our oppressors without proper preparation. The Bunkum brothers' head trainer wandered into the elephant living quarters to double-check the giant change cinched around the ankles of the 8 captives, the performers. The trainer puffed on a fat cigar, a smell they all hated, and gave what he felt was an affectionate slap on each elephant's sensitive trunk. Night, Lucy! Night, old Tom, Snowflake, Jupiter, Sonny Boy, Bucko. Night, Sally. Look like you put on a little weight there, honey. Night, Zumbi. Night, boys and girls. The party they hated the most after the nauseous cigar smoke, the patronizing pat slap on their trunks, was his night, boys and girls. They had had many after-hours discussions about what they wanted to do in response to the trainer's parting reference to them as boys and girls. Old Tom. Well, now, come on, y'all. That ain't such a bad thing as all of that, is it? Snowflake. Well, I don't see anything really cool about it. It's undignified. And besides, I'm not a girl. And my real name is Uganda, in case anybody's interested. Jupiter. I think we ought to take this asshole out. You know what I'm saying? I agree with Lord Roxy. I think we ought to take each and every one of them out who disrespects us. You know what I'm saying? Sonny boy. Ah, come on, Jupiter. You wouldn't want to be responsible for killing babies, would you? You heard what I said. Each and every one of them who disrespects us. Out. Bucko. Too much talk, not enough action. That's what I say. Sally, flapping her ears to cool off. I don't really care to be bothered by all of this negativity. Zumbi kept his opinions to himself. It was a clever way to demonstrate that he wasn't in complete agreement with any of his friends, or Roxy, or out of touch. Maybe Roxy thinks of me as a Colin Powell, but I'm not. I hope within the next few days that I will be able to make her understand that. Roxy feels a great urgency to be the catalyst for some kind of change, and I clearly understand that. It's been 45 years now. 45 years of being made to do silly things for the amusement of children and childlike adults, of being locked inside zoo prisons. Some of us went suicidal in 2005 because dozens of the younger members went off too soon. The results of their impatience caused a lot of human anxiety and punitive mass chain-ups. The major difference that Zumbi, an African, had with his peers concerned the scope of their future rebellion/revolt. It's got to be worldwide, global, not just us Africans in circus captivity, but all of those brothers and sisters in Asia, wherever. Ah, come on, Zumbi, they're different from us. No, Roxy, not really. They captured them and made slaves of them just like us. The only difference is that they made them do stuff like hauling logs and building roads that they didn't focus on with us. But they made us clowns, comic figures and dunce caps to be laughed at, to dance around inside the big top. Yeah, they did that. They did it like that because they knew we would never obey commands like slaves. Roxy, I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying, bottom line, is that we've got to get beyond the artificial barriers they've set up between us. You know the stereotypes. Asians, docile, simple, smaller, willing. Africans, wilder, complicated, larger, need tighter controls. I hear you, Zumbi, my brother, I hear you. I hope and pray that you do. That was frequently a sticking point, the fact that the Asians have been reduced to chattel slavery and their African brothers and sisters have been forced into circus toming or into zoo/prisons. It doesn't make any sense for us to try to throw stuff on one side of our family or the other. They made slave workers out of them and clown fools out of us. I, for one, can't see any reason to focus on these two conditions as a point of difference. Let's take it from where we are right now. Zumbi the Great, his elephant friends called him. Big Zumbi, to the Bunkum Circus folks, swayed back and forth, half asleep, his mind filled with past and future thoughts, elephant ideas. He was slipping into one of those thought patterns that seemed to grip his mind like a strange drug. He felt himself walking across miles of open, dry country, driven by the urge to return to a water hole that he knew would be there. There might not be a lot of water, but there will be enough to take us through this dry spell. My ancestors have told me this. The history of elephant and man has always been a troubled one, with man the clear aggressor. There's no evidence ever that elephants, mastodons, have overlooked at man as a food source or work unit, but certainly the reverse has always been true. Man hunted the mastodons for food, but it isn't quite clear how or why the first elephants were enslaved. The most logical scenario is that a baby elephant was captured and some smart guy suggested that they raise her, instead of roasting and grilling the unfortunate. She'll be able to help us carry heavy loads and stuff. Yeah, maybe, but you know these babies get to be pretty hefty. What if she grows up and turns on us? That's unlikely, not after we've raised her, completely brainwashed her. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but what if? Okay, a doomsday scenario, huh? If she grows up and turns wild, we'll just warm up the old grill and barbecue her. And what about the heat period? You're talking about muffs. This is a female. We won't have a problem with her. That's a guy thing. Thus, possibly, began elephant enslavement. After many generations of domestication, puny man had a giant horse to help him face his heavy-duty problems. This scene was probably played out in the north early on, but as history shows us, it certainly became a southern thing too. In any case, the events of that time are murky. What is clear to us, to the elephants of today, is that they're captives, and they've always been aware of that fact, and planned their emancipation. It started with a funny feeling, a funny headache, a kind of delicious pressure in the temple areas of his head that left him feeling sexually excited. Hey boss, looks like Zumbi's coming into Mustard again. What do you want us to do? Well, make certain he's well chained first off, and then we'll decide if we want to mate him. Who with? How about Lucy? She's just about at the right breeding age. And besides, I think that would be a real interesting experience for her. And for him too. Zumbi, under the aphrodisiacal elements called must intoxication, was taken to Lucy at the peak of his must fever. 18 months later, she gave birth to a baby that they had agreed to kill. Zumbi, we can't allow another one of us to be born into this whatever it is. The Bunkum brothers, keepers, and trainers tried to save the newborn, but they couldn't do anything to prevent the mother from rolling over onto the baby and smothering it. Oh my God, she's killing it. She's killing her own young. I've never known an elephant mother to do that. Bust came again, as it does with male elephants, and they brought Snowflake to him. 19 months later, she aborted a fully developed fetus. Doesn't look like Zuby's having too much luck becoming a daddy. They listened to the comments and shared their feelings with each other. Well, under the circumstances, the best we can do is deny them the opportunity to enslave more of us. The elephants in the Bunkum Brothers circus spent many hours trying to figure out where they were psychologically. They trained us to perform these silly stunts. Why? Zumbi, counseling. Because they think it will make their children happy. What kind of sickness is in their minds to make them think that we are funny? We are the elders of this planet. You're missing the point. What you must understand is that their relationship with their children is so warped, so sick, as you say, that they're constantly trying to entertain their children because they are as much out of tune with them as they could possibly be. But Zumbi, that still doesn't explain why they would want to use us to entertain their children. I can better understand the Asians who put us to work, hauling teak wood log, pulling stuff and all of that. I can't understand what our existence is supposed to mean here in these circuses and zoo prisons. Jupiter, my brother, I must confess that I'm also baffled. I'm just offering my opinion on this matter. It's very complicated, but it does seem to be locked into something having to do with children. Look at Dumbo. Is that a sign of hatred for us or not? Dumbo? Look around at all the ways they've sought to degrade us, our position on earth. Well, thank God they're not all like that. Yes, we should thank God, theirs and ours, for the organizations that sympathize with our condition and are trying to do something about it. In this place, this prison, this hell on earth for elephants, they call me Roxy. But I've been told by the elders of our clan that my mother named me Imzi, the old one, because she had the feeling that I have been here before. I have that feeling too. I have many feelings. Many of them come from being born in Uganda 50 years ago, not too far from Kampala, during the horrible regime of Idi Amin Dada, the monster. I was captured by poachers after they had slaughtered my mom for her tusks. Can you imagine anything more insane or absurd than to kill an elephant? To use the elephant's tusks to make commercial items, stamps for letters, dagger holders, letter openers, whatever. I was not well treated by the poachers after they murdered my mother because they didn't know what to do with me. I was too small for tusks and too big to hide, so they decided to eat me. Fortunately, just as they were stoking up the barbecue fire for my tender body, I was rescued by heroic members of the Uganda Forest Patrol. If I had known that I was going to be taken away to this hell for elephants, I would have preferred to be barbecued. How long now? 25 years behind these bars in this prison they call a zoo. I peeked over the shoulders of those who held plans that suggested we would be happy if they placed these bricks over here and the walls over there. Happy behind bars? There are times when I feel that the only reason I've remained sane is because of all the insanity all around me. The idea for our rebellion is a very old one. I've had old heads tell me about the earliest rebellions, individual actions that some of us had taken when they realized that they were going to be held in chattel slavery forever. I've been ready to go for the past 3 years. I had the perfect opportunity last year, but it was blown by my cellmate who died on the points of my tusks, trying to convince me that human beings were basically good. They simply did not know what to do with us. That's how brainwashed she was. Of course I regretted killing her. And I regretted destroying that obnoxious keeper we had, who was always hooking us with his hook or whatever they call that awful thing behind my ears. My ears are still super sensitive to touch because of that crazy man hooking me. Yes, I regretted killing her, but I was fed up with the abuse. Let's face it, even slaves have some rights too. Somehow, the more I think about it in human terms, I see us as gypsies, African Americans, or maybe Native Americans. As gypsies, as elephants, we've never paid much attention to borders. We will always go to where there's food and water. Like African Americans, we've been enslaved, forced to follow rhythms and ideas that are foreign to us. And like Native Americans, we've been denied use of our own land. They took the land from Native Americans and took us from our native lands. Sometimes during certain seasons of the year, I feel this powerful urge to be back in my place with my own free, doing all of the things we love to do. Love. I miss love most of all. Perhaps that would sound strange to some, but to those who know elephants, they know that we are great lovers of love. This musk, this intoxication that comes on us is always thought to be simply hormones. It's more than that, much more. It starts with this delicious pressure in the temple areas of our heads and spreads down through our bodies. I feel that it's Mother Nature's way of reassuring every male that his body is capable of containing great sexual urges and excitement. Of course, for those of us who are big and strong, musk makes us feel bigger and stronger. Sometimes when we are in this state, there will be fights between us to determine who will have the right, the honor, and privilege of mating. The musk comes every year in the life of an adult male. I have been in musk many times over the years. The only solution my captors had for me, for my state of being, was to chain me up. Chain me up. Being chained while in musk feels like I'm being smothered or locked in a box too small to turn around in. One of the great reasons why our urge to rebel is so strong and will remain strong stems from our need to experience the natural effect of musk in a natural way, in a natural setting. No matter what happens, we will never become sheep or goats. We will always remain elephants. The thought clicked to his head at dawn, a magical time for elephants. He gently blew a series of subsonic trumpet notes to Roxy. Roxy, my brother, as much as I respect your position, I must insist upon your submission to my plan. I am Zumbi, the Great, so you must understand that I'm not coming to you as a small boy. Are you getting me? This is what I have put in motion. I have asked him to seek confirmation from our ancient brothers and sisters, most of them anyway, and others being held captive in out-of-the-way places, that we agree to do 3 things this year. Number 1, we will request release from our slavery by refusing to do anything requested of us in the circuses. Yes, it will cost us dearly. They may even put us down. But it would be better for all of us to be dead rather than to act as imbeciles all of our lives. Number 2, we insist that all elephants held captive in zoos, prisons, or privately must be returned to their lands of origin. Number 3, we insist on our rights to be elephants and not marginal figures relegated to the circus tent or the road gang. What that means is that we will be freed. If it is possible for some of us to forage and live in the new world in designated areas with ample food and water, then we wish to be left there alone to pursue our own interests. We are asking that the same consideration be made for our Asian brothers and sisters and those being held in other places. If the conditions that I have described are not met by the end of this month, February, I believe that's African American History Month, we will dedicate ourselves to a worldwide action. We fully recognize that what the consequences may be for our actions, but we are ready, willing, and able to accept whatever the consequences may be. Ashe, zombie. Ah,
Mr. Hawkins.
yes,
Yes. What does the cover look like? The palm wine.
Let me show it to you.
Okay.
The cover was designed by a wonderful artist
Uh-huh.
named Mrs. Lynn.
Oh.
As you can see, she has a figure, I suppose that would be me,
Mm-hmm.
and she has little African children surrounding the storytelling figure.
That's odd because it looks like a children's book, but I gather it's not for children.
It's not, and the reason I asked for children is because I felt the innocence of children would give a special sort of effect to the stories. And you're right, the stories are adult stories, but children are very receptive and attentive.
They listen better.
There's nothing pornographic. There's nothing that you would find wrong to read to children.
But children listen better than sometimes
I believe
adults.
so. I believe they're very innocent and they're very receptive.
Mm-hmm.
They like it, and if they like it, they show they like it. They don't play games with you.
They like to be read to.
And if they like what they hear, they'll ask you to read it 2 or 3 times.
The same story.
The same story, over and over. For example, there's a little girl, she's about 2 now, I think, or
Yeah.
1.5.
No, 2.
Her name is Ava.
Uh-huh.
Ava Kathleen Howard.
Yes.
And I think she probably is destined to be a writer because she's very interested in what it is you read to her. I haven't read her anything from Wine Junction, but I intend to in the near future.
Sounds good. Definitely. Well, thank you. And I look forward to our next reading. Will you be reading from Palm Wine Junction or one of your other books?
One of the other books, or possibly Wine Junction. Let's see what tomorrow has. Let's see what tomorrow
Yes,
has.
indeed. So, Google Odie Hawkins, and you will find his books through Amazon or Barnes & Noble. They're also e-books.
Exactly that.
So, until the next time, Ashe.